Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, and Textile. Shri Som Prakash, Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Commerce and Industry. Shri Anurag Jain, Secretary DPIIT. Shri S. Kishore, Special Secretary. Shri Amritlal Meena, Additional Secretary Logistics. Shri Anand Swaroop, Joint Secretary. We have also been joined by senior officers from Ministry of Commerce and Industry, representatives from line ministries, head of association in the logistics sectors and logistic experts, academicians from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, representatives from World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and GIZ, senior officers from state and UT virtually, and media personnel. I, Jivisha Joshi, Deputy Secretary Logistics, take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us on the release of Logistic Ease Across Different States, LEADS 2021. Now, I would request Shri Amritlal Meena, Additional Secretary Logistics, to welcome everyone and give a presentation on LEADS.
Public Distribution and Textiles, respected Sri Som Prakash Ji, Honorable Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, respected Sri Anurag Jain, Secretary Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Sri S. Kishore, Special Secretary Department of Commerce, senior officers from Ministry of Commerce and Industry and all infrastructure ministries, representatives from all 36 states and union territories who are connected virtually, partners from logistics sector, representatives from the industry association, friends from media. It is my pleasure to welcome you all in release events of Logistic Ease Across Different States, Report 2021 by Honorable Minister. Ministry of Commerce and Industry had realized need for a framework for assessment of the state logistic performance with objective to bring in constructive competition among states. Accordingly, during year 2018, first ever LEAD survey was carried out and LEAD reports 2018 was released. This survey had focused only on EXIM logistic ecosystem across the states. Further, an improved version was carried out during the year 2019 by incorporating domestic logistic ecosystem also, and LEADS report 2019 was released. Due to COVID pandemic, LEADS 2020 survey could not be conducted. Now, on the instructions of the Honorable Minister, LEADS 2021 survey has been conducted extensively with 3 objectives. One is to rank the state/union territories in their logistic ecosystem. Second, to ascertain feedback from the logistic sector players as to what are the problems they are facing in terms of logistic cost and other related issues. Third, to work out action points, which are issues and challenges in this sector, which can be further implemented and improved. So with these 3 objectives, this survey was conducted. This survey was basically conducted on perception as well as objective basis criteria. During the survey, our professional agency team has contacted about 1,400 stakeholders and over 3,700 responses were collected. In the perception-based survey, the information with respect to the logistic infrastructure, the services and regulatory and operating system in the states were collected. There were 17 questions. And from the participating states and union territories, the survey team has conducted objective information on the logistic environment. We have collected secondary data on logistic infrastructure, ease of doing business ranking, and the performance of the states in trade infrastructure for export scheme outlays. Based on this, the data was collected for all the states and the union territories. And after that, the report has been prepared. The report basically consists of the profile of each and every state. The book, which is about 190 pages, it has 3 to 4 pages for every state, which gives the complete profile. It gives comparison of the scores in different parameters. It also highlights the issues and challenges that the logistics sector players are facing in different states. It also highlights the initiatives taken by different state government. Sir, after 2018 and 2019, there is healthy competition among the states, and states are learning from experience of each other. Resultantly, many states have come out with their logistic policies. In many of the state logistic coordination committees have been formed. And in many of the states, specific state logistics cell have been created. So there is a healthy competition to improve the logistic ecosystem in the states, and that is the objective of this whole exercise. Based on the feedback from 1,400 stakeholders, we have categorized the states into 3 categories for the purpose of ranking. First category is 21 states, which has 20 mainland states and Assam. The second category is the northeastern states, remaining states, and Himalayan Union territories. And the third category is the other UTs. So basically, the states have been ranked into these 3 categories, and accordingly, the ranking will be announced. After release of this report by the Honorable Minister today, it is proposed that all the recommendations which are there in this report with respect to various state governments and also with respect to various ministries of the central government, we intend to carry forward further action on all the recommendations so that whatever has been identified as the gap in infrastructure, gaps in regulations, gap in the systems, lack of digital processes, that entire thing will be pushed and will take appropriate action as a run-up, as a follow-up. It is also proposed that immediately we will start our 2022 exercise by involvement of the state and also the central ministries, so that during this 1 year, we take action on the recommendations which have been made in this report and also bring healthy competition and ensure that 2022 version is much more improved version, and through this effort, the logistic efficiency of the country improves. With this, I conclude my presentation, and once again, I welcome Honorable Minister, Honorable MOS, all dignitaries, and with this, I close my remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving the background on leads. Now we will play a short video on the relevance of leads.
भारत जल्द ही विश्व का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा उपभोक्ता केंद्र बन जाएगा। हमारी घरेलू खपत एवं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वैल्यू चेन में एकीकरण एवं प्रतिस्पर्धा बनाए रखना भारत के आर्थिक विकास के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। लॉजिस्टिक्स इन दोनों पहलुओं में संतुलन बनाए रखने में कारगर साबित हो रहा है। एक सशक्त लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम भारत के $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी के स्वप्न को साकार करने में अहम भूमिका निभाएगा। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में भारत सरकार ने लॉजिस्टिक्स को सुगम बनाने के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर निर्माण पर जोर दिया और रेगुलेटरी और स्ट्रक्चरल बदलाव लाने के लिए ठोस कदम उठाए हैं। हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री ने गति शक्ति अभियान के द्वारा इसको एक नई स्फूर्ति प्रदान की है।
गति शक्ति हमारे देश के लिए एक ऐसा नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मास्टर प्लान होगा जो होलिस्टिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की नींव रखेगा, हमारी इकोनॉमी को एक इंटीग्रेटेड और होलिस्टिक पाथवे देगा।
भारत की संघीय व्यवस्था के मद्देनजर हमारे देश के लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम को सशक्त करने में राज्य सरकारों की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम को मजबूत बनाकर राज्य अपने प्रदेश के उत्पादों को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजार में सही दाम में बेच सकते हैं व भारत के निर्यातों में वृद्धि ला सकते हैं। वाणिज्य और उद्योग मंत्रालय MOCI ने 2018 में एक वार्षिक स्टडी को लॉन्च किया, लॉजिस्टिक्स ईज अक्रॉस डिफरेंट स्टेट्स यानी लीड्स। ताकि नीतियों को बनाने एवं लॉजिस्टिक्स के कार्य को और कुशलता से किया जा सके। इस अध्ययन का मकसद है राज्यों के बीच लॉजिस्टिक्स की सुविधाओं को बेहतर करना और सहयोग देने की एक रचनात्मक प्रतिस्पर्धा को बढ़ावा देना, ताकि राज्यों और केंद्र शासित प्रदेशों में नीतियों और नियमों का सही ढंग से पालन हो सके। लीड्स एक वार्षिक स्टडी है जिसके मूल रूप से 3 उद्देश्य हैं। इसके द्वारा राज्यों और केंद्र शासित प्रदेशों को लॉजिस्टिक्स के मापदंडों पर आंका जाना, लॉजिस्टिक्स वैल्यू चेन के स्टेक होल्डर्स की प्रतिक्रियाओं को सुनना व समझना और स्टेक होल्डर्स की समस्याओं के निवारण के उपाय सुझाना। लीड्स इंडेक्स भारत में लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम को समझने का एक मजबूत और विश्वसनीय सूचक है। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में ये अध्ययन राज्यों के लॉजिस्टिक्स संबंधी प्रदर्शन के एक रिपोर्ट कार्ड के रूप में साबित हुआ है, ताकि कमियों को समझा जा सके और उनका निवारण भी किया जा सके। लीड्स 2021 इंडेक्स का लक्ष्य है राज्यों की हिस्सेदारी और इनोवेशन को दी जाने वाली अहमियत के विभिन्न पहलुओं की ओर ध्यान आकर्षित करना। परसेप्शन बेस्ड सर्वे के साथ साथ इस इंडेक्स में ऑब्जेक्टिव डेटाबेस इंडिकेटर्स का भी समीकरण किया गया है, ताकि राज्यों द्वारा अपने लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम को बेहतर करने के लिए की जाने वाली पहल एवं योजनाओं को पहचाना जा सके। लीड्स एक निरंतर चलने वाली प्रक्रिया है जो भारत में लॉजिस्टिक्स इकोसिस्टम की बेहतरी, लॉजिस्टिक्स कॉस्ट में 5% कमी लाने एवं देश के आर्थिक विकास के लिए काम करेगी, ताकि आत्मनिर्भर भारत व भारत को $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनाने के स्वप्न को आने वाले 5 वर्षों में साकार किया जा सके। भारत जल्द ही विश्व का
Now I'll request Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textile, and other dignitaries on dais to do the honor and release the report. Thank you, sir. Now I would request Shri Anurag Jain, Secretary DPIIT, to address the August gathering.
Honorable Minister Shri Piyush Goyal ji, Honorable MOS Shri Som Prakash ji, my colleagues Shri S. Kishore, Amrit Meena ji, representatives of the state government, friends from media, and all others who are present here today. Leeds report is very important for industries, because this sets up a platform for states and all other stakeholders to know how the logistics function in our country. As was mentioned, there was a target when Amrit ji was speaking about it, that there's a target to reduce the logistic cost by about 5%. As per the feedback received from various sectors and assessments and studies done, it is estimated that the logistic cost in our country is about 14%. And while in the developed economies, it is about 8 to 10%. So there is clear-cut a gap which we can really bridge. And if we bridge that, our industries become more competitive. The benefit will flow to consumers, benefit will flow to export sector, and the whole economy will grow stronger. that will also take us towards the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. This study, as Amritji was pointing it out, that this is a third in the series, and like every generation, there is an improvement. The improvement in the second generation was that when it started, it was only based on the export potential. But when the second generation came, the domestic logistic was taken into consideration. And this time, objective parameters have been taken into consideration. When I was turning through the pages, it occurred to me that there's a wealth of information for investors and also for the states. States can really have a hard look. I mean, after initial ranking, etc., whatever it is, there is a section on states individually, which reflects how the state is performing, how it is benchmarked against other states, the best in the business in that particular category, and the average of the country, how are they benchmarked. So that difference actually gives where there is a scope for improvement in the state. This report is also has a natural convergence to another program called PM Gati Shakti, which was launched on 13th October. PM Gati Shakti is also housed in the logistic division, and there is a natural convergence that if we improve our infrastructure, the logistic efficiency is bound to improve. The way PM Gati Shakti works, I am sure most of you would have followed what was happening when PM Gati Shakti was being launched. It is basically a GIS platform, and it's a national master plan where we have mapped all other projects which are going to be completed, which are expected to be completed by 2024-25 of all the infrastructure ministries and the economic ministries. So the purpose is a prospective investor knows where to take his industry to. It is actually in conjunction with a lot of other initiatives, like we have got Industrial Land Bank digitized completely, and it is marked on the map. If an investor wants a decision making to be done, he can do right sitting in the comfort of his own home or in his institution. This GIS tool I was talking about, PM Gati Shakti, also throws out lots of gaps which are there. And that gap analysis actually gives us a way to prioritize which projects we should take on priority and improve our logistic infrastructure, which in turn would drive down the costs. So this is a very, very important milestone, and I am sure this will go a long way for states to look into where they need to work to be able to attract industries and improve the employability and the ecosystem in their own state. I would also like to suggest for states to consider. Finally, it's a federal structure. I am sure all our colleagues from states are there. They are listening to. Some of the states have done extraordinarily well on certain aspects. And if that happens, we should look at the report and find out why other states are doing well and better. And once we understand that, we can improve the score of our own state. So that comparison will really make a lot of difference. So one of the very important things which has been done by some states, as I know, the three states, UP, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, they have given status of industry to logistics. That is a very interesting thought. Giving the status of industry would mean you have a cheaper land, cheaper power, cheaper financing cost, which will actually go a long way in improving the logistic cost in the country. We can also look at creating contiguous land parcels next to the industrial parks and see how it can be made a logistic hub. If there is a gap, is it in terms of having a logistic depot there which can be considered? States could also look at reducing the conversion charges and see, can we move towards a system where logistic, which is basically another very important infrastructure for the industry, if the cost can be improved on that front, then it will actually be able to attract more industries and get revenues in some other form. So therefore, charges for conversion to logistic commercialization of the land, if that could be looked into. Finally, the approach to industrialization it has to be an integrated approach, and I am sure that with this report, it will be a good feedback for the states, and since there is ranking involved, I am sure this will also spur states into moving towards improving their ranks next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I'll request Mihir Shah, partner EY, to set a background for us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected sirs. My name is Mihir Shah. It's been a great privilege to have been involved in this report. I'll take 5 minutes to explain, as sir mentioned, of what was the thinking, philosophy, and the approach that we used. So we started this journey earlier this year in January, and really the problem statement for us was how do we improve and how do we take the states with us in this exercise. And we also wanted to ensure that the exercise is objective and is not only based on perception, because that adds value to what we are trying to do, which is the end output that we want. So we really kind of consulted with many, many stakeholders. More importantly, we consulted with the states at the very start to ensure that whatever we come up with is acceptable in what we do and the process that we do. So at the start, we evolved the framework. We actually broke down the problem statement. So if you see the 2019 report and also the 2018 reports, they were focused on certain parts. And what we thought is, how do we have more granular insights on where the problem statement is? So infra, as Amina sir very well correctly mentioned, infra, services, and regulations are the three main components of what the LEADS report looks at. So we broke down each component of infra into rail, multimodal terminals, ports, etc., to get more granular inputs. And this is the revision, the improvisation that we really went through on a very, very consultative process. I think some of the stakeholders are here and also the states. So I would like to take this platform to really thank all of you for contributed in the planning of this. Once we had done the planning, we then did the pilot to really see whether the industry understands the questions that we are asking. We did that successfully. Then, during the COVID phase, we went all out. Obviously, they had challenges, but I think the industry and the states, again, I would underline the states, helped us through this journey, and obviously, everyone in the ministry played a brilliant role. And then finally, I think you see the output today, sir, of a lot of effort, and I think truly an effort of the entire nation in creating this report, and I would like to thank all of you for being here. Any more, sir?
Would anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask. I've added this a little bit to the program because I also saw the report just now only, and I found that it really seemed to me to be very, very high quality.
Thank you, sir.
That's why I requested you, Mihir Bhai.
Thank you, sir.
And the good part is that this was a completely independent exercise.
Yes.
Completely independent of any government interference, any government involvement. Therefore, I thought that I'd request you to
Absolutely, sir.
share your experience and
Absolutely.
how do you see this will improve thinking in the state and in the government of India?
I think that's a brilliant question. Fortunately, I as a firm and myself, I work extensively in the states, and I would consistently relay this back to Government of India that there is serious amount of momentum in the states with logistics, and I see that now, that actually states are really now competitively eyeing that I want to be number one, number two, number three, and I think that is the shift that the ministry and the department have been able to generate through this exercise. Going forward, I think this momentum will continue, it is on us as the government to really see how we refine and optimize. And I think the work is already started, sir, in that regard as to how do we go to the next level for the 2022 report and also reach out to a much broader industry environment and see how we make this even better, if not more. I think, sir, just if you could give me 2 minutes. We had the state conference and your leadership in January, and you had written to all the states in the end of December last year. And I still remember those 28 points that were there in your letter. They were so hard-hitting, they were so simple. And I think that gave the states a direction of where they want to focus. And I think these initiatives by the center have been appreciated by states, and they've got guidance. I think that's what's required at the state level. So I think it's a brilliant partnership between the center and the states. We only facilitate that, but I think it's commendable effort by everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Meher. Now I'll request Shri Som Prakash, Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Commerce and Industry, to share his views on leads.
Shri Piyush Goyal ji, Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles, Shri Anurag Jain ji, Secretary DPIIT, Shri Amritlal ji Meena, Shri Kishore ji, Shri Anand Swarup ji, Shri Meher Shah ji, who has worked very hard to prepare this report. The LEADS 2021 report has been launched today. The study now, in its third year, is in line with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's objective of developing a Atmanirbhar Bharat by assessing logistics ecosystem at the state level. The first version of the report, LEADS 2018, was focused on export-import trade and assessed the efficiency of the logistic ecosystem in each state and union territory. The second edition of the study, LEADS 2019, covered both international and domestic trade. This report is based on the ground reality of the state's logistic utilities infrastructure. Hence, LEADS ranking remains the most reliable parameter for ascertaining the true logistic environment in the state. It serves as the reliable yardsticks of actual logistic performance of the state's union territories level. The central government, as a federal government, plays a critical role in adopting progressive policies and initiatives. But it is also the responsibility of the states and duties to ensure judicious implementation of at their level. The study is a collaboration between the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, state government, UTs, and logistic players, with the ultimate goal of enhancing the logistic infrastructure, services, and regulatory environment at the national level. LEADS 2021 report is different on two occasions from the previous one. Firstly, the statistical approach has been updated to ensure the report relevance and trustworthiness. This assures that the discovery is both pertinent and accepted. Secondly, perception surveys has been augmented with objective data of states and UTs. The use of objective data has aided the transition to a more data-driven scientific approach. The study highlights key logistic bottlenecks and tends to present a suggested road map as well as best case approaches for learning and improvement at state and union territory level. Gujarat is once again at the top of the ranking this year. In case of Haryana, there has been noticeable improvement as it has jumped 4 places to second rank. Uttar Pradesh ranking has improved steadily, owing mostly to policy measures. Jammu and Kashmir is the highest ranking state in the northeast states and Himalayan region, followed by Sikkim and Meghalaya. In the union territories, Delhi has surpassed Chandigarh, which tops the list of previous year. The lead is a continuous exercise and is meant to encourage states to compete in a positive way to support and facilitate logistics in their jurisdictions by improving infrastructures, encouraging policy initiatives, and regulatory reforms. With the efforts in the right direction, it is hoped that the vision of logistics costs will reduce by 5% in the next 5 years. This will ensure that logistics sector serves as an engine of growth and key driven for transforming India into a $5 trillion economy. Department of Commerce and Industry, through leads, will continuously engage with all states and UTs to support, facilitate, and promote improvements in the overall logistics ecosystem. Synergies flowing from such a coordinated approach will reduce logistic costs and which in turn will act as significant stimulus to Prime Minister's Gati Shakti National Master Plan. I hope states and UTs will make all out efforts to reduce logistic costs in the coming years and contribute towards making India Atmanirbhar and fulfill the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat as stated by Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for expressing your views. Now I'll request Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textile, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Shri Som Prakash ji, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Shri Anurag Jain, Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Shri Amritlal Meena ji, Additional Secretary, Logistics, Shri Mihir Shah, Partner, Ernst & Young, Shri S. Kishore, Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, several other colleagues from various ministries who have joined us today, both online with us here and virtually online on the video conference, officials from various states who have taken time to be with us, several other dignitaries from various organizations and multilateral bodies, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Truly delighted to be here for the launch of the third Leeds report. We've just concluded a series of festive days, starting from Dhanteras, Choti Diwali, Diwali, the New Year that is celebrated in several parts of India, particularly in the topper of the Leeds report, Gujarat, the Govardhan Puja, Bhai Dooj. It's been a series of good days, festive days, and these days have also brought a lot of cheer to all of us in terms of several indicators which have demonstrated the resilience of Indian economy, which have demonstrated the enthusiasm across the country to get back to normal. It has demonstrated the speed with which economic activity, social activities are coming back to normalcy. But of course, it has also shown us that we all have to be, once again, a lot more careful and cautious, both in our personal behavior, in maintaining COVID protocol, ensuring those of us who have not yet been vaccinated take their vaccine doses, particularly the second dose, where we still have a backlog. I was reading in the newspapers, we have a large stock of vaccines. At least all those naysayers who used to ask, where are the vaccines? I think it's now time to ask. I hope they will encourage all those who are left behind to come and take their vaccine with the same enthusiasm with which they were trying to criticize the humongous work that Indian scientists, Indian medical doctors, health professionals, technicians, our brother and sister nurses were doing. Instead of appreciating that huge work, it was very easy to criticize. But I do hope they will now, at least, play a positive contributory role to bringing the country back to normal and ensuring the safety of all our citizens. I'm starting with this today because I'm happy to see a lot of friends here who otherwise were not joining us in such programs. Many friends from the media who now I see have started coming into the new media center. And a very, very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us. In fact, very often I say in my meetings these days that while we had used the video conferencing to very good effect and very efficiently all through the COVID period and kept our work going, I think it's time to start reconnecting with all of you, because there is a certain advantage in this personal connect and getting to know what's happening around, what the feedback is from the ground, and therefore really delighted to be in this program with all of you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, India is committed to building modern infrastructure, preparing this nation for the 21st century, to become a superpower in the years ahead, to engage with the world from a position of strength and confidence. And we can clearly see the pace at which the country is developing, the infrastructure in the country is growing. The quality of infrastructure that we are seeing today is something unheard of, unparalleled. Very recently, under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, the department had come out with the PM Gati Shakti National Infrastructure Master Plan. It's a remarkable initiative, and I would urge those of you who have still not understood the entire concept behind PM Gati Shakti to spend some time in understanding it and seeing how it can help each one of us in our work to plan better, to execute better, and become much more efficient in meeting the needs of infrastructure across the country, bringing down the cost of logistics across the country. To my mind, it's one of the most revolutionary steps taken in a long time, and it will completely revamp the way we plan our infrastructure, the way the next generation of multimodal infrastructure is prepared in this country. And in some sense, the Leeds report will very easily merge into the PM Gati Shakti thinking to help people use the PM Gati Shakti National Infrastructure Master Plan and plan their future better, both at the center and in the states. I must also acknowledge the wonderful work that ENY has done in preparing or in helping us rank the various states. I'd like to thank the IIFT professors also, who provided a lot of statistical support to ENY in this work. And while it was not stated in the program, when I opened the report, and that's the first time I saw who's got the #1 rank, and I saw it was Gujarat, I thought it may be a good idea to get you to at least tell them the methodology a little bit. And even after the program, I'll urge any of you who have any questions to interact with Mr. Mihir Shah, because what we do is a completely hands-off approach in the entire ranking exercise, so that a very, very honest assessment can come out. It can help the states understand what they're doing, what they can do better, what they can do smarter, how they can prepare to improve their rank going forward. And bear in mind, this is a relative ranking. Just like ease of doing business or our competitiveness ranking, all of these are relative rankings. So you may put in a lot of effort and improve a lot, but if some other state improves more than you, he'll still get ahead. So in a comparative ranking, it's really a race to the top. And that's the beauty of such competitive rankings, where everybody then puts in that extra effort. And that way we can really push the ecosystem to become much, much better and smarter. And that was really the concept that Prime Minister Modi had when he suggested that we plan for a national holistic thinking around infrastructure. And that has many elements. As I said, PM Gati Shakti is one element, which will help us integrate the plans, infrastructure plans, both at the center and state and of different ministries, so that we can plan smarter, we can avoid duplication, we can avoid something which has bothered you and me, all of us, all our life, that a road is built, few days later some other department comes and breaks open the road to put in some drainage pipe into it, rebuilds that road, then the electricity department comes in to put some underground cabling, again breaks the road, does his work, rebuilds it, then the telecom department. This is something I think which has bothered all of us through our life. We have always seen it, felt very bad about it. But Prime Minister Modi found the solution to it. He said, can we not merge the databases of all departments? Can we not use technology and artificial intelligence so that these databases talk to each other, talk in the technological term? And then can we not think smart that if the railways has a plan to go from point A to point B, the roadways also have a plan to do that? But looking at the comparative traffics, we may not need to duplicate every bit of that infrastructure. And if there's a big tunnel along the way, if there's a huge river bridge across the journey, could we look at combining the resources of both and having a rail cum road bridge, so that whenever the train has to travel, we can stop the traffic on the road, let the train pass, and then the cars can go. And with modern designs, we can easily have a rail cum road. In fact, it doesn't even need any rocket science. We've seen that in many parts of the world, including in India, in the past. But somehow, working in silos over the years, Governments could never plan in a smart fashion, in a fashion where we could save costs, save time and cost overruns, and help the nation with better infrastructure. And PM Gati Shakti is all about such holistic planning. And the logistics ecosystem, getting recognition through a report like the Leeds report, in terms of a lot of very valuable data being presented. Data which will help the states also to see where they are, relative to where other states are. What should be the focus areas? Do I need more railway lines? Do I need more airports in my state? Are the quality of roads in my state good enough to attract new industrial investment? Is the multimodal transport system in my state convenient for seamless movement of goods across rail, maybe inland waterways, roadways, and then on to the port or the airport for international business? So many questions come to mind. And a report with objective criteria and based on a lot of feedback from the marketplace, I think can truly help each one of us, both at the center and state, look at a much, much faster and a better future towards bringing down the logistics cost to more comparable international levels, making Indian industry competitive, and serving our people, our stakeholders, and the world markets better. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Gujarat did a wonderful job on infrastructure. And I'm not surprised that they have come number one in this report. I think it's a labor of love for Prime Minister Modi ever since 20 years that he's been relentlessly developing infrastructure at every opportunity that he got. For about 13 years as Chief Minister of the state, he prepared Gujarat to be one of the finest infrastructure hubs in the country. I remember a lot of people from Mumbai, which is my home city, used to travel to Vapi and Surat by car. And it used to always be a joke in Mumbai that when you travel from Mumbai to Gujarat, till you come to the Gujarat border, you are going to get road works going on for long periods of time. You're going to get potholed roads. It's going to take you long periods to reach there. And the moment you cross the border, you are in a beautiful highway, driving smoothly at high speed to reach your destination. And I'm not saying this out of anything against one state or the other. It was something we would talk about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. It's been, of late, things have changed. We've seen a lot of improvement across the country. But this used to be a usual complaint. Prime Minister Modi, when he came to the center, has focused his attention to duplicate that across the nation and focus on huge investments in infrastructure. And I think all of you are aware. For example, look at the increase in the capex of Indian Railways. I think up to 13-14, it was about 50,000 crores or so. This year's budget, the Indian Railway capex, is slated to be about 2.15 lakh crores. Look at the dramatic change from about 50,000 crores to upward of 2 lakh crores in such a short span of 7 years. In fact, the amount spent on railway infrastructure in the last 7 years, collectively, cumulatively, is more than what was spent in 70 years. Highways, it's increased 3x over the last 7 years, from 12 kilometers per day in 13-14 to about 37 kilometers per day in 2021. And that was the COVID period, in the middle of COVID. Airports, You know the speed with which air connectivity is increasing across remote corners of the country, and the target is to have 200 airports. I suspect none of us in this room or on the call would have imagined India having 200 airports in the next, and that should be done in the next probably 3 or 4 years. In 2014, only 60 panchayats across the country were connected with optical fiber. In the last 7 years, that's gone from 60 panchayats to 1,50,000 panchayats. I'm not even trying to do the maths to calculate how many X that is. 1,50,000 panchayats already connected with optical fiber. In terms of power transmission lines, till 2014, we had about 3 lakh circuit kilometers of power transmission lines. Today, it has increased to over 4.25 lakhs. 7 years, and look at the transformational impact. Infrastructure can change the destiny of our nation. And if one looks at the developed nations, you will find that the defining feature which differentiated their growth or the prosperity of those nations from others was availability of high quality, low cost, affordable, and expansive infrastructure at scale. And efficient logistics will be a natural outcome of that. It will make it easier to do business. It will empower. And now with technology coming in, you get doubly empowered. Our economic activity, and it will make life for our citizens also much better. Ease of living will improve, something that Prime Minister Modi is extremely passionate about. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the COVID period. Look at how we were able to manage some of the very critical elements during the COVID period, thanks to the significant improvement in our infrastructure across the country. And not very difficult to look at one item alone which will show you, reflect to you how good efficient infrastructure can make a difference. The way we manage the liquid medical oxygen demand. For a developing nation like India, when all countries across the world were grappling with the problem of COVID and with shortages of oxygen, and across the world, I read reports that Japan was having an oxygen problem. Many other parts of the world faced problems of oxygen, particularly availability of oxygen in remote areas in different countries. But throughout the country, to move liquid medical oxygen at that speed, and not normal quantities, not even increased or incremental increased quantities, from 900 metric tons per day of liquid medical oxygen to go up to a requirement of nearly 9,000 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen a day was a humongous task. I don't think any other part of the world we saw any country ramp up so fast the availability of liquid medical oxygen as India did. But it was only possible because of the huge infrastructure that had been created over the last few years. We used air, we used railways, we used our ports to transport oxygen through the water. The roadways, of course, were the primary focus. And the whole of the government approach was evident in the way liquid medical oxygen was handled. To take oxygen to far off places, particularly since the production of oxygen was centered mainly in Western India and in Eastern India, but the demand was from across India, you would have empty tankers being flown in by Air Force planes being filled up at the liquid medical oxygen production site, being moved by road and then subsequently by railways, the filled up tankers being moved by railways to their destination. And on many occasions, the overall travel time being cut down by as much as 80%, the logistics travel time, but ensuring that through the length and breadth of the country, oxygen could be moved. People at over 10,000 places were using oxygen, and across the country, we were able to save lives and help people come out of a very, very difficult period that we all went through. Logistics, ladies and gentlemen, is an enabler, and it's a Team India approach that will help logistics really serve the people of India better. I'm delighted that all the states have also participated very enthusiastically in this effort to get the Leeds ranking out, despite a lot of concerns about COVID and about the ability of getting all the data and the people traveling to different places to get feedback. But I believe it's a very, very high quality report which I would urge all the stakeholders to look at very seriously, to learn from it, to help build up India's competitiveness, bring in a little more competition, friendly competition among states for next year's rankings, so that healthy competition results in improvement in the service that we provide to all our stakeholders. And all of this, I hope, will lead to a culture of excellence. This whole ecosystem should move towards excellence. And that is what this country's burning desire is. In fact, when I was looking at the report, I saw some states have leapfrogged very significantly. It's of course, I've not had chance to read the report in its entirety, but just while looking at the relative rankings from last time to this time, I found that Uttar Pradesh, for example, has leapfrogged 7 ranks in just 2 years, from 19 to 21. And that is probably the highest jump that any state has had. Now, somebody in the group may not misunderstand me, that why have I picked out Uttar Pradesh, but I picked it out because I saw that had the highest jump in the last 2 years. And to my mind, that's reflective of the effort that they must have done in probably increasing the availability of infrastructure, the spending on infrastructure, the quality of infrastructure that they provide, the connectivity between different infrastructures. I know for a fact that Banaras at Varanasi, we've created a multimodal hub. Similarly, we see a new airport coming up right in our, at the borders at Jewar, which will provide an alternate connectivity to the national capital region also, particularly considering that Delhi airport is fast becoming quite busy and may soon reach saturation point. The government, for that matter, realized that Mumbai has reached saturation point, so we have an airport coming up close to Mumbai, in Navi Mumbai or Panvel area. So this is a government which is very responsive to the needs, to the demands, and plans in advance, not after it becomes too late. And that, to my mind, is going to be the defining feature of India in the years ahead. I am grateful for all the support that we have received in fine-tuning the elements of this report also. I'm delighted when you shared that you've tried to bring in some objective criteria this time. You're looking at the perception from the eyes of the users and giving that value, because at the end of the day, I may do very good work, but unless my stakeholders, my users, unless all of you feel that there was some good to it, it has no meaning. And just like elections sometimes are a barometer which help us to also see how our work is. And probably that's the reason the people of India gave Prime Minister Narendra Modi the second term with an even bigger absolute majority than was given in 2014. Truly a positive vote of confidence for the wonderful work that he had done, for his leadership, for his decisive leadership, for the way he took India out of the economic distress that we inherited in 2014. Similar fashion, I think the current effort to develop this nation, to take development to the last man at the bottom of the pyramid, to take development to the remotest corners of the country and help economic progress across the length and breadth of the country is truly the need of the hour and reflected in his own vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, or Sabka Prayas. And in a way, this Leeds report is encouraging Sabka Prayas. It is encouraging the center, different ministries, the states, all to work as a team to see how we can frame logistics policy both at the center and the states in sync with each other. How we can use the PM Gati Shakti master planning tool to plan the master plan both at the center and states for infrastructure better. How we can use single window clearance system for various elements of the logistics chain or different infrastructures. How we can establish proper grievance redressal systems to sort out the problems that either the users or infrastructure creators have. I think all of these are areas where we can collaborate. I would urge all the states to work with us in this, work in the spirit of a collective effort for a better future for the people of India. If I may quote Lord Gautam Buddha, who had said, and I quote, "I never see what has been done. I only see what remains to be done." Ladies and gentlemen, I invite all of you to let's look closer, deeper, and with great care to see what more we can do to serve the people, to bring down the cost of logistics, to make our logistics more efficient. And I think the Leeds report, in some sense, if I can play on your words of Leeds, will help us to bring longevity to our infrastructure plans, bring efficiency into the way we plan our infrastructure, bring more accuracy so that we use our scarce resources smarter, bring durability so that quality, which is an element of our Leeds perception survey, will lead to more durable infrastructure in the years ahead, and help all of us do our work smarter, bring smartness into the logistics sector. So longevity, efficiency, accuracy, durability, and you could call it smartness, you can call it stability. Leeds can really lead to a much, much brighter future for the infrastructure sector. My best wishes to all of you. My best wishes to the states in their effort to provide better service to their people. And once again, wishing all of you a very, very prosperous, healthy, and wonderful year ahead. A year full of happiness, a year full of growth, a year which will bring a smile to every person's face in this country. Thank you very much. Thanks, then we do the vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. Now I'll request Anand Swarup, Joint Secretary, to give vote of thanks.
The release of the annual Leeds report today will assist the states and union territories in resolving some of the logistics challenges identified in the report and reduce logistics costs. The engagement with the states and UTs would be a continuous exercise, and the logistics division would continue to work closely with all the stakeholders. The logistics report, the Leeds report, which has been released today, has now been uploaded on the Department of Commerce's website, and I'll request all stakeholders to kindly have a look at the report. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles for gracing the occasion, releasing the report, and guiding us with his views and expectations. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of State, Commerce and Industry for taking out time from his busy schedule and gracing the occasion. I would like to thank Shri Anurag Jain, Secretary DPIIT, for being with us despite other commitments. I would like to thank Shri S. Kishore, Special Secretary Commerce, and Shri Amrit Lal Meena, Additional Secretary Logistics, for providing guidance to the team. I would like to thank the participants from the states and the Logistics Industry Associations for participating in the Leeds exercise and making it a success. I would like to thank professors from IIFT for providing very valuable technical inputs. I would like to thank the participants from the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, and GIZ for being very valuable partners to the logistics division. Special thanks to the E&Y team for helping us in coming out with the latest version of the Leeds report. I would also like to thank my colleague, Shri S. Suresh Kumar, in absentia, who has put in tremendous efforts to finalize this report. Finally, I would like to thank the friends from the media for covering this event. The Honorable Minister has kindly consented to interact with the media, so I'll request Shri D.J. Narayan to conduct the proceedings. So I'll request the friends from the states and other industry associations who have joined us on the video call. They can now leave, and thank you very much for your participation. I'll also...
These days I'll do an interaction with all of them who had come today. Today was not enough time. So we'll invite them for an interaction to get their feedback.
Right, sir. I'll request Shri D.J. Narayan to kindly come on to the stage. A small announcement, once the interaction with the media is over, I'll request all of you to kindly join us for high tea on the 4th floor. Thank you.
Thank you. We just felt that so much is happening on the logistics sector, and we have all spoken. हमारे CM sir ने भी काफी कुछ detail में बताया the vision, the plan, but media would always have its own angles and all questions. So we are ready to take few questions. We have limited time. Yeah, 62.
सर मैं लक्ष्मण हूँ CNBC आवाज़ से. मेरा दो सवाल है कि ये जो लॉजिस्टिक की जो रिपोर्ट आई है उसमें नंबर 1 पे गुजरात है, फिर हरियाणा, पंजाब है. तो यहाँ पे जो नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट है एवरेज जो 14% के आसपास है, फिर हमको 5% लाने का टारगेट है. इन स्टेट में लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट कितना है कंपेयर टू नेशनल एवरेज? और दूसरी चीज़ जो PM गति शक्ति का ऐलान किया गया था उसमें ये रिपोर्ट कितनी मददगार साबित होगी इसको अमल में लाने के लिए?
मैंने दोनों का वास्तव रेट क्या है, लॉजिस्टिक्स कॉस्ट एक एक स्टेट क्या है, वो तो अलग से डिफाइन होता नहीं है. लेकिन जहाँ तक PM गति शक्ति की बात है, मैंने अभी समझाया, कि जब पता चलता है किस स्टेट में किस चीज की आवश्यकता है, तो पीएम गति शक्ति एक ऐसा साधन है, वो तो एक एनेबलर है जो इस्तेमाल करके ध्यान में आता है कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आज के दिन क्या क्या प्लान हो रहा है, कहाँ पे गैप्स है, कहाँ पे और प्लान करने की आवश्यकता है। तो राज्य अगर पीएम गति शक्ति के साथ जुड़ के अपनी प्लानिंग को भी उसी में डालते हैं, तो केंद्र और राज्य की दोनों की प्लान्स मर्ज होके गैप एनालिसिस बन सकता है, और उस गैप एनालिसिस से भर के आप एक प्रकार से बड़ी होलिस्टिक, बहुत कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्लानिंग कर सकते हो। मैं उसका एक छोटा उदाहरण आपको दे सकता हूं। जब हमने एक टेस्ट केस में कुछ अलग अलग हाईवे के प्रोजेक्ट्स जो एनएचएआई कर रही थी और कुछ राज्य के प्रोजेक्ट्स को कंबाइन करके देखा पीएम गति शक्ति मास्टर प्लान में, आई थिंक मेरे सेक्रेटरी ने मुझे इसकी जानकारी दी थी उस दिन लॉन्च के पहले, तो ध्यान में आया कि 5-6 किलोमीटर के 2-3 स्ट्रेचेस ऐड करके यू कुड एक्चुअली कवर अ मच वाइडर स्पैन और कनेक्टिविटी बहुत सुधर जाती। अब 4-5 किलोमीटर नॉर्मल कोर्स में एनएचएआई कभी ऐड नहीं करता है, पर उन केस में एज ए स्पेशल केस किया, क्योंकि उससे ऑटोमेटिकली उसकी वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन बहुत बढ़ गई। तो इस प्रकार से बहुत लाभ हो सकता है।
तो इसमें सर केंद्र राज्य के पीछे बेहतर तालमेल के लिए क्या केंद्र सरकार कोई लॉजिस्टिक पॉलिसी लाने जा रही है? कब तक इसके ऐलान की संभावना है?
वो भी आएगी, पर मैं समझता हूं कि केंद्र और राज्य को सिनर्जी में काम करना चाहिए। तो हम चाहेंगे कि राज्य के साथ भी और बातचीत भी रहे और राज्य भी अपनी लॉजिस्टिक्स पॉलिसी इन सिंक बनाए। वही मैंने अभी कहा, अगर आपने नोट किया हो।
नंबर 3।
सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है कनेक्टिविटी। कनेक्टिविटी जब तक इंप्रूव नहीं होगी तब तक लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट जो है हमेशा हाई रहेगी। तो इसके लिए कितना काम हो रहा है, और खासतौर पे गति शक्ति योजना के तहत कनेक्टिविटी की बात की जा रही थी तमाम ऐसे इलाकों को जो कि दूरगामी इलाके हैं जहां से कनेक्टिविटी बहुत पुअर है, उसके लिए क्या हो रहा है और कितना लक्ष्य, ये जो लक्ष्य आप तय कर रहे हैं कि 15% से 5% या 6% तक लाने की, ये कब तक होगा?
15 तो है कि नहीं, वैसे 15 एक कैलकुलेटेड फिगर है, अलग अलग अंदाजा है, कोई किसके पास कोई एक्यूरेट तो डेटा हो नहीं सकता है, और ये प्रोडक्ट टू प्रोडक्ट भी डिफर करता है। अब अलग हर प्रोडक्ट में कोई ज्यादा है ऐसा भी नहीं है, पर एक अनुमान है कि 12-13% है। कुछ इंटरनेशनल स्टडीज वगैरह हुई हैं, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि वो 5% कम हो। तो आप दोनों बैंड में आपने 2-3% बढ़ा दिया अपने फिगर्स को। और इसका प्रोजेक्ट्स तो हर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मिनिस्ट्री अपने अपने कर रही है। मैंने एक फ्लेवर आपको दिया अभी, कैसे हाईवे 3 गुना हो रहे हैं, रेलवे में कैपेक्स को 4.5 गुना बढ़ा दिया है सिर्फ 7 साल में। तो ये मैंने फ्लेवर दिया, बाकी डिटेल्स तो हर मिनिस्ट्री के पब्लिक डोमेन में भी है और आप जानकारी ले भी सकते हैं। और पीएम गति शक्ति मैंने फिर कहा, जो मास्टर प्लानिंग टूल एक प्रकार से है, पर आइडिया इज कि उससे देश भर का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को गति भी मिलेगी और स्मार्टर बनने के कारण कोने कोने तक कनेक्टिविटी भी पहुंचेगी और पैसे का इस्तेमाल और अच्छा होगा।
Yeah, maybe couple of more question maximum. Yeah.
Sir, I just wanted to know from you on the container shortage. Internationally, this is a problem. What steps are being taken, because this is something that will really affect India in the coming months. What are you doing to address this issue?
कई बार क्राइसिस में से अपॉर्चुनिटी आती है और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बार बार समस्या में से समाधान के साथ साथ एक भविष्य के लिए, उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए भी हमने काम करना चाहिए, देश के समक्ष भी ये बात रखी है। We've had a container shortage after many years. For so many years there used to be a glut of containers, and in fact the price of shipping containers all have been quite low. During the COVID period, many parts of the world shipping times have got extended, ships are stuck at ports, lockdowns have come up at different parts of the world, containers couldn't get cleared or didn't get cleared and come back into the system, So overall in the world, there are a lot of infrastructure of shipping, both shipping and its handling, the containers. Both have got stuck, because of which there is a temporary kind of shortage in the market. Also, international trade is picking up very well. India alone will be looking at 40% plus growth in our exports and almost a 25% growth in our imports. Right? So we are really looking at very aggressive growth in international trade, which augurs well for the Indian economy, which really shows how we are bouncing back faster. And therefore, this is a problem which is a problem all across the world, not just in India. We are working with shipping lines, with container operators. We have been trying to get empty containers into the country, trying to get ships with empty containers dock more frequently. Customs is trying to speed up custom processes. Railways is helping to move empty containers at very, very subsidized prices from points where they are available to points where they will be required. So it's again a whole of the government approach where railways, the shipping ministry, in some little way the Commerce and Industry and Logistics Department helping to supplement those efforts, a series of dialogues held with the stakeholders, both users and the participants who provide these services, at secretaries level, at CAPSEC level, at ministerial level. So we are all working in tandem. With these efforts, rates have actually stabilized and now gradually started coming down. We do hope that in the months to come, we'll quickly see things stabilizing to normalcy.
Thank you. Small little announcement. Tomorrow there's a wonderful event, Service Export Promotion Council of India. All media is invited there around 11:30, Taj. We'll send in invites again. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Thanks, sir, for joining us. Thank you. Tomorrow, 11:13 a.m., Taj.
Well done. Keep it up.